All right, welcome back, everybody. It is going to be another episode of the Monty and Murdy College Football Show. Monty, what's up, dude? How we doing?
Not too bad, man. It's again we found ourselves a little bit distracted, so it's been a little while since we recorded last, but it is Thursday, 9/11/2025. Never forget, of course. We appreciate all the first responders out there, the ones at Ground Zero and the ones today. So it's a good day to record. It's an exciting week, obviously, for that team. If whoever's watching can see what I'm pointing at, it's a big week for them. Big week last week, which we will be talking about today. We'll be doing the recap today and the preview on the next episode. But big week last week for the Fighting Sooners of the Oklahoma University.
That hit the ear wrong. But yeah, huge week. So yeah, as Monty said, y'all, so we're going to try something new. We've been discussing it for the past couple of weeks. We want to try to hit y'all with 2 episodes a week. So we'll split up, our episodes. We're running about that hour 15 mark. So now we're going to split them up. We're going to have a recap episode. Well, that will be its own one that we hopefully release earlier in the week. And then we'll have a second episode where we actually do the preview for the upcoming week. So we're going to kind of split them in half and give y'all 2 different episodes to catch up on, whichever one y'all are wanting to do. So Monty, you ready? You want to go ahead and dive into this one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so week 2, we got to start. We got to start with the Oklahoma Sooners.
The Fighting Sooners.
Taking down the Michigan Wolverines 24-13 in Norman. And let me be frank, Michigan's lucky this game was this close, because Oklahoma should have beat them by 20. Just the mistakes OU made, got some bad luck on some penalties. The refs, they kind of go, that's one thing we never said we'd argue too much about. It's just kind of one of those things, kind of part of the game. Some of the calls go your way, some of them don't. But OU in this game, man, they dominated both lines of scrimmage, offense and defense. And I think it's safe to say OU's got a dude at quarterback in John Mateer, man.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that. Maybe, and I don't know, maybe you're just afraid to jinx anything, but it seems like I'm a little, or at least was a little bit higher on him than you were. He is my, well, here, we'll do this real quick. We'll just do it now, because I haven't done it in several episodes since last season going into this one. My bold prediction, as we've talked about, I haven't said it, but
Monty's weekly hot take, baby. We're bringing it back.
Hot take that might not be as hot, and a lot of our listeners are Oklahoma fans, so they might like this, but I did pick John Mateer to win the Heisman this year. So you might not be as high on him, at least not yet, or you're just not saying it, but that's what I believe. I mean, the guy is talented. A lot of people, a lot of casuals, they didn't really watch him at Washington State and see what he did. And the ones that either did a little bit or say they did, say that, oh, well, it won't translate to the SEC, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you're a quarterback at Washington State, you're throwing the ball like 50 times a game. They obviously have shown, Cam Ward, to translate quite well to a Power 5 program, Power 4 program. And yeah, you can say Miami was in the ACC, whatever. They still went 10-2 with a decent schedule. Now you got John Mateer leading the Sooners in the SEC, and he's looking damn good. And my hot-ish take still stands.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to say it. I don't want to jinx it. I really like the way the dude plays football. There are some things about OU, and that's honestly what gets me more excited about this, because I don't think this was – you can watch this game. This is not OU's peak. There's a lot of stuff they messed up on. They muffed punts. They muffed a kickoff. John Mateer had the interception. They gave Michigan chances to continue to stay in this game, but OU was just ultimately too much up front on the D-line. O-line, this is the first – we started 4 new starters than we did week 1, so week 2 had 4 different starters on the offensive line. And they were able to knock Michigan back off the ball, which is, I mean, it's huge for a team that struggled so mightily on the offensive line last year, right? That was one of OU's weakest points. We couldn't get a run game going. Yeah.
One of the question marks going into the season, as well as the quarterback position.
Absolutely. And Michigan is known for their trench play. Trench warfare is kind of Michigan's forte when it comes to college football. And to see OU go in there and dominate Michigan, especially on the lines of scrimmage, that was really exciting to see. Now, I say that to say this. OU still has plenty of room for improvement, right? We still need to develop a traditional running game. John Mateer had 19 carries in this game, which is going to wear you down. Like, obviously, that can't be the game plan every week, especially with the schedule that OU faces. So they need to get the running backs involved. They need to be able to win in the running game without the +1, like the +1 quarterback run game. I think it's still always going to be a part of this team. It's going to be something that they're able to do. I just don't think it's something that needs to be relied on that heavily. And OU's got we got some playmakers that are still coming back from injury. Eli Bowen at cornerback. He was a freshman All-American last year. He hasn't played a snap yet for this team. Javonte Gibson, who they're expecting to be a huge part of this team in the wide receiver core. He's still not back from injury that he got in the spring. Y'all could probably watch some of the spring ball tape. He was pretty big in the spring game. A couple others. Kendall Dolby, who we lost last year. He was pretty much one of our best players going into the Tennessee game. Lost him there. So lost him for the rest of the season then. He's eventually coming back, so we got 1 or 2 games.
Sorry,
there.
I was laughing because you do what I try not to. You said we.
Oh yeah, I'm terrible about it. Right?
I'm bad at it too. I try every episode that we do, and it's always we. Yeah. I'm gonna do my best this next episode when we preview that Tennessee Georgia game. But anyways, I digress.
Luckily I don't have a problem doing it whenever I'm talking about anybody but OU. So yeah. Kendall Dolby went out. He's supposed to be coming back. So this OU team has still got a lot of people they're going to get healthy, a lot of playmakers for this team that are still coming back to get healthy, and this team still has a lot to figure out. But to be able to play and win a game in that fashion when you're not playing your best and you still have plenty of room to improve, that tells me a lot about this OU team. I'm looking forward to see if Brent Venables can get them and keep them on that trajectory as we start getting into really probably one of the worst schedules in the freaking country. So, yeah, very excited about them. But overall, great win, and it's a great week to be a Sooner.
Yeah, I mean, when I sat down and rewatched that game and I was texting you, what did I say? I don't know if you remember. I said how fast the defense looked. I said that 'cause I was watching, and they looked like just crushing. Like they looked like they had different stunts. They had all these blitzes coming in from everywhere. I remember there was one specific play I believe it was the first or second quarter, definitely the first half. But I watched and it was like, it looked like they weren't sending anybody. And then all of a sudden Bryce Underwood had like 4 guys in his face. And the thing about this game too, is that Michigan's O-line, they didn't play bad. It was just that Oklahoma was so overbearing. Michigan only gave up 1 sack, but Oklahoma had 8 tackles for losses. So they were constantly in the backfield, and that's what I saw. And that's when I texted you about how fast their defense looked. What we're not used to seeing, at least in recent memory, when Oklahoma was still in the Big 12, is you weren't used to seeing defense, holding teams to 13 points. But this defense, it's a physical, Venable. This is the first year since Venable's been there, and I know he's only been there for a short time, that it's like, okay, yeah, this is that Clemson defense that we saw when he was the D coordinator at Clemson, like just overbearing, just all game long too. It didn't stop. Bryce Underwood, they talk about him being this good, just he's a young quarterback, and he looked good in their first game, but Oklahoma's defense made him look like a young quarterback.
Yeah.
He didn't make a ton of mistakes, but he didn't have a whole lot going for him, and it just overthrows, underthrows. I don't think he trusted his pocket, and as a true freshman, that's a typical thing. But this guy wasn't supposed to be that, and Oklahoma made him look like that. So it was quite impressive on the defensive side for OU. Going back to John Mateer, yes, he is. I was very impressed. But if you look at his stat line, it's not blowing anybody away. But when you watch the game, if you actually sit down and watch that game, what do you have? He was 21 of 34, 270, a touchdown and a pick. right? So 270 yards, that's a hell of a game. 21-34. That's a typical. That's not like a oh wow, stat line, and then just a touchdown and an interception. But the whole time I watched, dude kept cool the whole game. He was like Joe Cool would walk around back there, like nothing was getting to him. And that's what you get when you have a veteran quarterback like him. It didn't seem like he was only a touchdown and an interception. He was playing that game like y'all were up 40 points.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because when you come down to games, well, like the gauntlet you talk about in the schedule, you come down to those games where you got to go play Alabama, you got to go play Tennessee, you got to go play that SEC gauntlet, Texas, right, in the Cotton Bowl. When it comes to those games, if they do stay close into the fourth quarter, you need a guy like that, or at least how he played against Michigan. You need him to look like that in all those games that you got coming up. So that was another thing I was very impressed was he just seemed like he owned that game. And he did. I was just saying, in comparison to the touchdown and a pick, it's like, it's not like oh wow, Sawyer Robertson throwing 4 tutties every freaking game seemingly, and like 5 million yards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, same thing. So like, even with OU's 2 turnovers, they were still able to win by 11 points. Scored 24 points at home. If you score 24 points at home, you should be at least close to the winning side. I always say 30 points at home, you shouldn't lose at all. 24 is like, yeah, especially when you got a defense with how they play, how OU's defense played. Yeah, I mean, that's going to win games.
To be fair, I still remember the Lincoln Riley OU teams where they would. We weren't winning a game if you ain't scoring 45. We didn't drop 45. Hey, Bubba, just go ahead and write it off, man. That's that's gonna be an L.
Yeah, I'd say, and that's the same thing. The 2022 Tennessee team, right? But on the Michigan side, like I said to you before we started recording, I think Michigan will be fine this year. I think they'll get better as the season goes on. It's Bryce Underwood's second game. I think they'll be fine. I think they are actually one of those top 20 teams in the country, at least as of right now, from what I've seen. We'll see how they do in the Big Ten. But I'm not too worried about them, but that goes to show how good I think OU is this year. Again, we'll see how their schedule plays out. I know it's a hell of a gauntlet, but I think Michigan will be fine.
I mean, they beat Ohio State last year with me playing quarterback for them. So, like, you know what I mean? Bryce Underwood, he's extremely talented. That's real bad. Bryce Underwood, he's extremely talented. You could see it. I mean, his stat line, 9 for 24, 142 yards.
Yeah, I was going to mention the stat line, 37.5%.
Yeah.
And no touchdowns.
Which, granted, they only registered 1 sack, but I mean, OU was in his face all night.
Well, that's the thing. They made him look like that young quarterback.
Yeah, and he's missing throws. I think they put up a stat line in the game. I can't remember what it was, but he was like, they compared him and John Mateer. John Mateer was like against the blitz, and Bryce Underwood was like 0-13 or something, something crazy. Like he hadn't completed a single pass against the blitz. So it's just one of those things. He's just a young quarterback, and he'll mature from it, but he's definitely got talent, and they'll be fine.
I think the moral of the story for that game was just OU's defense. I mean, outside of the Justice Haynes touchdown in the opening of the second half, they really didn't do anything. That was their only touchdown of the game. They had 2 field goals outside of that. Like, had they not broke that free, and I know it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda at this point, but had they not broken that, probably would have stopped them on that drive based on the statistical evidence that we have in that game. So it probably would have been a 24-6 game, right? That's a Venables defense right there. So I think Michigan will be fine. They got to clean some things up, like we said, but so does OU. So overall, good game for OU. Good home win. We'll see how they fare. Coming up against a very trap game against Temple.
Trappy game against Temple. The Owls are beating people down. I don't know what the OU team's doing, but I'm not sleeping on Temple, right? You hear me, Temple Owls? I am not sleeping on you, all right? OU fans need to make the trip. We need to show up. We need to win that game. We cannot – I don't want to see like the Brent Venables team from 2023 when we beat Texas and then we just fall out and lose to Kansas and lose to Oklahoma State. Can't have that, right? I'm not sleeping on the Temple Owls, and neither should OU.
Yeah, we shall see.
So, moving on. Possible, people are saying, I've heard this on a couple different shows. People are saying this may be the game of the year so far. Baylor SMU. Baylor ends up winning 48-45 in 2 overtimes. And, dude, I got a funny story about this game, right? So I was switching back and forth. I was swapping. I think it was on during the same time that I think it was Iowa State was on. I think they were both on at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was swapping back and forth between them.
Yeah, I was locked in on that Iowa State game.
Yeah. And then, so either way, I'm sitting there swapping back and forth. I get to the fourth quarter of this one, and I'm like, and then SMU, I see them, they're tied up. I think it was like 24-24, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. I keep it on. It goes to commercial break. I come back, and then SMU's up 38-24, and I'm like, damn, what happened? I missed that, you know? I'm like, well, SMU's got it in the bag. It's like 7 minutes left. I flip back to the Iowa game because we'll get to it in a second. Iowa State game was awesome. So I flip back to it, and then whenever I come back and I look up and it's tied 38-38, and I'm like, wait, what happened?
Sawyer Robertson happened, man.
Yeah, dude. So
frickin' sling it.
Yeah,
I'll talk about him in a sec.
Yeah, I think he scored they scored 34 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Tied the game up, took it to overtime. Overall, this game, I think honestly of this game actually says more to me about Baylor than it does SMU. I think Baylor is they're a pretty good team. I think they still have some stuff to figure out on the defensive side of the ball. But with Sawyer Robertson freaking throwing for 400 yards a game, how much do you need? I mean, Lincoln Riley used to run the Big 12 doing that exact same thing.
He leads the country right now. He's got like 855. I don't know the exact number, but it's like 855 yards passing this year in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and like 70 touchdowns already. So,
yeah. So like I said, I think it's just said more to me about Baylor. I think SMU is still a good team, and I think they still may have some stuff to figure out regards to the defensive side of the ball, but I think Baylor just may be that good on offense. But either way, great game. What did you think? Let's hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, well, obviously the one person I did want to talk about was Sawyer Robertson's stat line was 34-50, so throwing the ball 50 times a game, but 34-50, 440, and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's the guy you and I thought he was going to be this year. I'm sure he had a lot of transfer interest from other schools in this past. Many of those Big 12 quarterbacks did.
There were some rumors. There were some OU rumors before we got Ben Arbuckle.
There were some Tennessee rumors as well.
Even after that, yeah.
Yep. But no, I mean, the guy is crazy talented. He's. I actually noted. I said he might be this year's Kyle McCord. And yeah. I mean, right now he literally is. He leads the country in passing yards and probably touchdowns. Somebody can fact check me on that. But no, I mean, that pass game's insane. They had 2 guys over 100 yards in Josh Cameron, who had 151, and that Ashton Hawkins in 145. So one over 150, one basically 150. But the thing is, too, is like if you just looked at the stat line, didn't show the score, didn't show the box score, and you just looked at the stat line, and you saw Sawyer Robertson throw for 440 yards and 4 touchdowns, and they had a running back over 100 yards rushing.
With 31 carries, which is it just me, or does 81 plays seem like a lot?
It is.
Is that just me? No.
It is. But that goes to, but then it's like if you
both
look
teams
at that,
play fast, they both play tempo.
Right. Well, that's the thing about SMU is like they're going to get off the field quick if they're scoring, and especially early. But no, I mean, that's the thing. They had 601 total yards of offense that game, Baylor. If I told you that they have 601 total yards of offense, and Sawyer Robertson threw for 440 of it, you'd be like, oh, and they scored 48 points. It's like, God dang, how much did they win by? But it's like it's like you look at the other side. Kevin Jennings, he tosses for almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns with an interception. It's like that game, it was anyone could have won that game. Obviously, sounds like a dumb thing to say, but the fact of the matter is, like, the SMU is going to be fine, just as I said with Michigan. The only issue with that, the only speed bump now with SMU having a loss is seemingly what Florida State looks like right now. So they're going to have to get over the Florida State hump and the Clemson hump. And I don't think they play either of them this year. But the problem is that
they got to play Clemson.
So they do. Okay. So
they got a big one against TCU.
Right. Which don't sleep on TCU.
Don't sleep on
you saw what they did to Chapel Bill.
Sonny Dykes, boy.
But it's like, that was a toss-up game. SMU's gonna be fine. They just got to win out. I mean, that's basically what they got to do, which is easier said than done for any team, especially in this age of college football.
They also play Miami.
Yeah. So, and I forget about Miami in the ACC.
Yep.
So it's the three-headed snake at the top now. SMU. It's an early loss, which could help as long as they continue to win. But good on Baylor. I mean, Baylor turned it around too. It was a must win for Baylor too if they want to stay alive in the Big 12. And I trust Sawyer Robertson. I trust Kevin Jennings too. But how Sawyer Robertson's been playing this year, Aranda's just like, dude, just toss the rock around the yard, and that's what he's been doing.
He ain't worried too much about it. So yeah, possible game of the year. If y'all haven't seen it, go watch the highlights on it. It'll tell you just about what you need to know.
Hell, I was gonna say, even if you don't even want to take the time to watch the whole game, just watch the second half.
Yeah,
it was tied 24-24 at halftime, so it's 0-0. So you just watch that second half, and then go into the double overtime. Yeah, that was a great game. I enjoyed watching that one. Well, right. Quasi watching.
Let's talk about it. Iowa versus Iowa State. Iowa State ends up winning. What they call it, the Cyhawk game, right? 16-13.
Mm-hmm.
16-13. I'll let you dive in, man. I know you're big on Iowa State this year. You're big on Iowa State every year, but bigger on them this year.
Yeah, grew up an Iowa State fan before I went to Tennessee. No, I mean, this is what I mean. Typical Iowa State score. Like I said, it was going to be. It is every year. It's always that 16-13, 19-16, 13-7. It's the Midwest gigantic dudes, just going head to head against each other, and that's what it was. Man, I trust Rocco Becht with the ball late against most teams in the country this year,
especially Iowa though.
Well, no. I mean, Iowa's got a stout defense.
But I'm saying, like, if I was picking which quarterback I'm going to pick to make a play late there, is it going to be Iowa's offense or Iowa State's offense?
But Iowa's where quarterbacks go to die. So there's that. But no, I mean, if you look at Rocco Becht's stat line, 18 of 27, 134 yards and a touchdown. That's it. Whole game. It's like. And they didn't even do anything on the ground. They had 104 yards total on the ground. They had 240 yards of total offense that game.
Yeah.
But that's how these games normally go, right? The difference is that Iowa State defense, if you watch that game, especially in the first half, even into the second half, I would say the defense won that game because Iowa State ended up having to go down and score late, which that's why I brought up Rocco Becht late. Man, dude was automatic when it mattered. But it was like nothing was really impressive about it. But if you watch, you could go back at least the last 5 years probably and watch if you watch the Iowa State game, they're so fun to watch. But the stat lines aren't going to be the fun stat lines. I think it was a fun game to watch. It was a dominating performance by both defenses. Gronowski only had 82 yards passing. So Rocco Becht was the leading passer with 134 yards.
Crazy.
Mind you, Gronowski it's funny because, and I noted this, it's funny because when I mentioned Iowa, that's where quarterbacks go to die. In the offseason, Gronowski was the big deal, right? Oh, I was going to finally have a quarterback.
They finally got an offense.
They got it, and they showed that practice propaganda, him throwing that 5-yard out, and it was like right there. And he is last in the Big Ten through 2 weeks in passing.
as any
I think I'm
good
pretty sure he has.
Iowa quarterback should.
I'm pretty sure he has 160 yards total on the year passing. Somebody can fact check me on that as well, but I'm pretty sure it's like 160 some yards total on the year in two games for Iowa. So, but that's like I said, I keep going back to it. I'll say it again.
You're doing him some favors, dude. You're doing him some favors. He's at 127.
Okay, well, I mean, even more so Rocco Beck outpassed him in one game than he has all year.
Yeah, he threw for 44 yards in the opening against Albany. That's wild.
No, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Just gives me more confidence to rely on this Iowa State team, especially with Arizona State losing, which we'll touch on here a little bit later. But with Arizona State losing, I mean, Iowa State, Texas Tech,
TCU, possibly, maybe Baylor, maybe
Baylor, Houston. Big 12 still got some.
Houston for me is a see it to believe it, but TCU right now, Tech. I need to see Tech play somebody. Now they're doing what elite teams should do to the teams that they played.
Yep.
Right. But we'll see what they do against really good opponent. Right now, yeah, I would say Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU, maybe Baylor. Baylor's got that one loss. So,
anything else on the Cyhawk game?
No, I was just going to mention that Iowa outrushed Iowa State 131-104, but that's again just goes back to the typical stat line of that game every year.
Yeah, just a defensive grind there. Yeah. So. Last game that we had on the breakdown, we'll touch on some other ones, just give quick thoughts on them, was Missouri versus Kansas. And what looked like it may be a dominant Kansas win early on. Missouri ends up rallying the troops, and Missouri wins 42-31 over Kansas. Yeah. It looked, like I said, it just looked like early Kansas had their foot on their throats. I even texted you while we were watching the game. I was like, hang on, Missouri, what do we got going on here? But good on them, man. Bo Prabula might be a dude.
No, well, that's the thing. That's the thing about that Bo Prabula dude. So stat line 30-39, 334 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interception. Right.
Yep.
That Prabula, I'm very impressed by. And you know me, when it comes to Mizzou, I never believe in them. They could, with the favorable schedule that they have in the SEC this year, and with a guy that they found in Prabula, Penn State transfer, dude, it's almost like, and I'm not going to say this yet, I'm not going to claim it, so no one come after me, but it seems like they may have potentially taken a step forward from Brady Cook. Not saying that it's for sure yet. But just based on what I've seen in Prabula the last 2 weeks, and now, yes, they started slow. I get that. KU came out hot also. So with those two things combining, KU hot, Mizzou slow, they went down early. But if you look at over the game overall, and they scored 42 points in Lawrence. Prabula's looking pretty good, and he seems comfortable in the pocket. So yeah, I think that Mizzou will be fine. But the thing was about Mizzou's game plan, they said that they were going to attack KU's weakness, which was their defensive backfield, and they did that. And you saw that, and that's why they ended up being able to score those 42 points.
Yeah, I still have my questions. I don't think this Kansas team is going to be, like I said, we didn't even mention them as a possible competitor for the Big 12 there. Probably like middle.
The Big 12 is the Big 12, though. Like, you just don't know.
It could be, yeah, but I just don't see it.
Because I don't know if you remember what KU did last year at the end.
Yeah, but if they end up they don't have Sawyer Robinson on the schedule. But I'm saying if Bo Prabula tore him up on the back end that way, could you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything at this point. I'm just saying KU, they ended up going 5-7 last year, but I think they were 1-6 at one point.
Yeah.
And they upset Iowa State last year.
They did.
And they upset somebody else. I'm blanking on it.
Colorado. They beat Colorado.
They did beat Colorado, and then there was one other team. They
BYU.
went on a tear. Yeah, that's who it was. They went on a tear last year. So I'm not look. Last year's last year. This year's this year. I'm just saying you can't yet sleep on an opponent like KU. We'll see. Again, goes back to the same thing as OU. We'll see how the SEC fares for him, but as long as Jalen Daniels is playing and he can get hot in these games, the Big 12 is wide open for anybody, as we've seen.
That's true. Usual. That's true. Big 12 still anybody's game.
We're still in that awkward phase of the year where we'll just have to wait and see going into week 3. But
I'll tell you somebody who I don't have to wait and see on. And that's Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was a beat down, dude.
Yeah. For y'all that are unaware or did not catch it, I believe Oregon ended up winning that game. I'm going straight off the
69-3. 69-3, yeah.
And just absolutely beat down Oklahoma State.
And that's the thing, dude, that I'm so with when it comes to that game in Oregon. Oregon beat a team, a Power 4 team, historically good Power 4 team.
Historically,
I know they went 3-9 last year, but it's Mike Gundy, so you just never know. He has his down years, has his up years. 69-3 against a historically good Power 4 team. 69-3. Tennessee beat ETSU, an FCS team, 72-17. ETSU scored more against Tennessee than Oklahoma State scored against Oregon.
Call it what you want. Watching that game, I think that's more of an indictment on Oklahoma State and where their program is at right now than it is how great Oregon is. I mean, granted, Mike Gundy doesn't help anything. He pissed him off a little bit, but it's just not a good spot right now for Oklahoma State.
No, it's not, and I don't follow the Oklahoma State chat rooms and all that stuff, but I'm sure. There have been, believe it or not, though, I did see some stuff. People are defending Gundy.
Well, that was his kid. His kid came out and defended him.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I've seen just cat, and I guess it could have been his burner.
It's his son's burner.
But I saw some Oklahoma State fans defending Mike Gundy just to ride it out with him until he retires. Basically, I'm like, man, if any Tennessee fan said that about a coach, he was like, "Oh, just ride it out, man." Like, no. Gotta win.
Hey, you ain't gonna fix it this year. That's all I know. It ain't gonna be fixed this year. So
definitely,
you might as well just ride it out. Maybe let Gundy have his freaking farewell tour. But yeah, nothing there. We had another big upset this weekend. Two actually more that we're gonna touch on real quick. USF took down the mighty Florida Gators in the swamp.
They're not so mighty Florida Gators.
The question mark laden Florida Gators that me and you both mentioned in our preview episode for the season. There were we both had question marks about Florida. Everybody else seemed really high on them, especially for the way that they finished last season. But I think with DJ Lagway, he missed spring ball. He missed part of fall camp. I just don't think he's that worked into form yet. And I don't think that Florida offense is clicking the way that they want it to. But overall, this speaks more to me about USF than it does Florida again here. I think USF.
I think it's 50-50. I'll let you finish. Yeah.
Well, I was just saying, I think USF was better than what Florida expected, and they were able to catch Florida. I think Florida will improve through the season, but I think where Florida is at right now very well may cost Billy Napier his job. We'll see. But if they need to get it turned around quick, and they got a big matchup that we're going to talk on in the next episode. So with not a lot of time to fix it. So
no. Yeah, no, I think that game, when we talk about the South Florida game, I think it was 50. I think USF deserves the ranking that they have gotten this week in the AP. I think that they should be ranked. They have 2 ranked wins. Yep. Not a lot of people can say that, if any. beat the brakes off Boise State. People can say, oh, Boise State beat the brakes off Boise State 34-7. And then they turn around and they go into the swamp, which we know. Tennessee knows how hard it is to win in the swamp. They walk into the swamp and they win 18-16, and they control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. You saw it in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything special on offense. That's why they only scored 18 points, right? And 3 of them coming in the last second. So basically 15 points in 4 quarters, right? So they didn't do anything special on offense, but they controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. On the flip side, watching Florida, if you watching Florida, it was like they were forced to play a football game that night.
Yeah.
They played slow. They didn't do anything special. Lagway looked like they were supposed to be a team this year, coming off of last year's momentum with Lagway, which Lagway's stat line last year wasn't even that impressive. He was like 12 touchdowns and 10 picks. Or but 9 picks or 8 picks or whatever, but it wasn't.
You know how it is. He's a freshman. They're like, oh, next year, just get ready.
I bought into him as well.
The issue is if you're gonna make that freshman to sophomore jump, you need spring ball and you need fall camp, which he did not have. He missed all of spring ball and he missed part of fall camp. That's why you're not seeing the jump.
I agree, and that's the issue that they're seeing now. They have they were the more talented football team.
Absolutely.
But the problem is that they let it goes back to it looked like they were sleeping through that game. It almost looked like they were like, oh well, the what it says on the side of my helmet is going to win the football game for me. Mm-hmm. And that just wasn't the case. And USF came out and played ball the way that they know how to play ball. And mind you, Alex Golish, the head coach of USF, former 2022 offensive coordinator at Tennessee when we were scoring 80 points a game. So that's supposed to be an offensive team. Or at least have some kind of offensive identity. Right? But 18-16, it looked like Florida, being the more talented team, just was like, hey, you have to play this game. And they're like, ugh, I don't want to.
I don't want to. I guess I will.
And now it's like everyone was so high on Florida. I know they have the gauntlet of a schedule like Oklahoma does. I think they're 1-2, with toughest schedule in the country. Now losing to USF, it's like, and then you got LSU this coming week in Baton Rouge.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will next episode. But yeah, it's an impressive win for USF, an abomination for Florida.
Absolutely. And hey, USF top 25 team. Next episode we'll touch a little bit on the AP poll, but one more game to get y'all for the recap, so that way y'all are aware of everything that took place in week 2. Mississippi State takes down number 13 Arizona State, and do it in last-second fashion, and Mississippi State deservedly earned themselves a $500,000 fine from the SEC for storming the field, but I think it's worth it. Won in dramatic fashion. Just can't say that game was awesome to watch, and I didn't see it coming. I just kind of flipped it on late. I was like, I'll watch a little football, watch a little more, a couple more games, and then ended up being a fantastic game. Mississippi State jumped out on them early and was just able to kind of hang on just long enough and score late at the end there to be able to give themselves the win there. Monty, what did you think?
Yeah, it was obviously it was a very underwhelming game for Sam Leavitt, who was supposed to be one of the top, who still can be, but was supposed to be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12. He was also one of those highly sought after potential transfers this offseason. Obviously, he stayed with Arizona State, loyal ASU Sun Devil, and props to him for staying. But 10 of 22, 82 yards, touchdown and 2 picks. Very underwhelming for him, right? But that's no slight to Mississippi State. Mississippi State played really well on both sides of the ball. They controlled the air with Blake Shapen throwing for almost 300 yards. And
Brennan Thompson, former Oklahoma.
And if you can hold that ASU, which mind you, one of the top teams in the country in returning production from last year, ASU, to hold them to 21 points in your backyard and to, like I said about Oklahoma earlier, score 24 points at home, probably should win. And that's what they did. They scored late, yes, but they scored 24, and that was just enough to win. And this is one of those games going into last week where people were like, be careful this Mississippi State team. They're looking pretty good. Mm-hmm. And now they're 2-0. So that's it. It was like the thing that was funny to me about this game, right? It was a close game. Mississippi State ended up winning, of course. Cowbells got to the Sun Devils, but 82 yards in the air for Sam Leavitt, very underwhelming game. But they had 251 on the ground.
To lose and run for 250 is crazy.
Two running backs over 100 yards in that Kanye Udo and Raleek Brown. I had to write those names down to make sure I didn't get them wrong. But that Raleek Brown, 18 rushes, 110 yards, and then Udo, 23, 105, and a touchdown. It's like if you run for 251 yards,
you're supposed to win. Not
yet knowing what the pass game did, you should be having a pretty good day, right? And especially when they held to Mississippi State to 66 yards on the ground. So it seems like Mississippi State was one-dimensional that whole game, but that's apparently all they needed to be. Blake Shapen having 279 yards.
To be fair, I mean, if Sam Leavitt just would have not thrown the ball, they might have actually performed better.
And just ran for like 300, 350 yards. Right?
Because
Sam Leavitt can also run the ball too. So, but I think what it ended up coming down to, because it was a close game again, it was the turnover battle. Mississippi State didn't turn the ball over. ASU threw 2 picks. And I think that was the difference in the game. And ASU was up late.
Yep.
Still. So ASU will be fine. Again, like I said to about a couple other teams. But Mississippi State, team to watch.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for our recap episode. Monty, you got anything else you want to touch on?
Nope. No bold prediction. I already said it. John Mateer for Heisman.
John Mateer for Heisman. Oof. All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning into this week's episode. As discussed, we'll have a preview episode coming out for y'all. We'll preview all Week 3's games. Till then, always subscribe to the show, like the video, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there. YouTube, follow us there, subscribe to us there. It helps us out, helps us grow the show. Either way, man, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.